Today we are breaking down exactly how the best finishers in boxing generate their knockouts. Not just the power, the method behind it. Because knockouts are rarely accidents. They are the result of specific habits, specific techniques, and specific approaches that can be studied and learned. Let's get into it. Welcome back to the Fight Archive. Gervonta Davis, timing. Gervonta Davis does not knock people out because he is the biggest puncher in the room. He knocks people out because he waits, and when he throws at exactly the right moment. His timing is exceptional. He reads his opponents carefully, identifies the moments when they are mid-movement, mid-combination, or slightly off balance, and delivers his punch into that exact window. The result is a punch that lands when his opponent is least prepared, when their guard is adjusting, when their weight is shifting, when their brain is occupied with something else entirely. And a punch that lands in that moment hits differently to the same punch thrown a split second earlier or later.
If Davis thought Santa Cruz was going to fold from his... Oh my!
What Davis demonstrates is that timing multiplies power. A perfectly timed punch from a fighter with average power can be more devastating than a wild swing from the hardest puncher in the division. The punch does not need to travel far. It does not need to be thrown with maximum effort. It just needs to land at the right moment. And Davis finds that moment better than almost anyone in the sport today.
No way.
Davis is reading you.
Instantly he'll respond.
This is a dance for Martin.
Nice straight left.
Out that jab. He's got to get back on the jab.
There's the jab and the left ball.
But again, he has to keep him busy.
Oh, there's a left hand. Oh, left uppercut.
The lesson is to stop throwing for the sake of throwing. Be patient. Watch your opponent. Learn their patterns and their moments of vulnerability. And when that window opens, be ready to take it with everything you have. Vergil Ortiz Jr. Pressure and combinations. Vergil Ortiz Jr. does not finish fights with one punch. He finishes them with a system. And that system is built on pressure and combinations working together in a way that very few fighters at any level can replicate. He comes forward with intent, applying constant pressure that forces his opponents into mistakes. And the moment a mistake appears, a dropped hand, a compromised guard, a split second of hesitation, Ortiz is already throwing the combination that ends the fight. He does not wait to see if the first punch worked. He follows immediately with the second, the third, the fourth, each one landing on a target that the previous punch helped to open.
Streak, or he do what he always does and finish his guy before the 9-minute mark. Nice left hook to the lip.
What makes him particularly dangerous is the combination of power and technique in those finishing sequences. He hits hard enough that every punch in the combination demands a defensive response, but he is technical enough to anticipate those responses and adjust his angles accordingly.
That's why I always say when fighters keep their gloves up, it may look like...
His opponents cannot just cover up and wait for the storm to pass, because he throws with enough variety and enough intelligence to find the gaps no matter how they try to protect themselves.
Junior Olympics, and he's firing away now. Vargas stumbles backwards. Here comes the pain.
And there it is again. He already caught on to the right hand of Ortiz.
Vargas having a laugh, but he's not smiling now as the 22-year-old starts to unload. Catching him with a left hand.
With the bell. Stop this fight.
The lesson is that pressure and combinations are most effective when they work together. Pressure creates the mistakes. Combinations exploit them. On their own, each is dangerous. Together, they become a finishing formula that is extremely difficult to survive. Subriel Matias. Pressure. Subriel Matias wins fights the way water carves rock. Not with one dramatic moment, but with relentless, accumulated pressure that eventually becomes impossible to withstand. He comes forward constantly, throwing in high volume, maintaining a pace that most opponents simply cannot sustain for 12 rounds. He does not always look for the spectacular knockout. He grinds, he pressures. He makes his opponents work harder than they want to work, take more punches than they want to take, and move more than they want to move. And by the middle rounds, the cumulative effect of that pressure starts to show. In the legs, in the breathing, in the guard that is no longer quite as tight as it was in round one. That is when Matias finishes, not with a single dramatic punch, but as the natural conclusion of a process that has been building since the first bell.
You know, this is just the way Matthias and his people drew up this fight. They really thought the pressure...
Oh, and Hawkins goes down to one knee.
His opponents do not get knocked out. They get broken down until continuing becomes impossible. The lesson is that pressure is a finishing tool in its own right. You do not need to be the hardest puncher in the room to stop opponents. You need to be relentless, consistent, and patient enough to let the pressure do its work. Make your opponent feel like every round is harder than the last, and eventually, something will give. David Benavidez. Volume. David Benavidez throws a lot of punches, more than most fighters at his level, more than most opponents are comfortable dealing with for 12 rounds. And that volume, that sheer, relentless output of punches, is what creates his stoppages. He becomes more dangerous as the fight goes on.
Body shot though by Benavidez. And the hands rattling Ramirez again. Backs him up. Hurts him.
In the early rounds, he is establishing his work rate, landing enough to be competitive, making his opponent deal with a constant stream of punches. By the middle rounds, the volume has accumulated. The opponent is taking more than they expected, absorbing more than their body anticipated. By the late rounds, the finish is almost inevitable. Not because any single punch was extraordinary, but because the total volume of punches landed has done damage that cannot be hidden anymore. Benavidez does not need the perfect punch. He needs to keep throwing, and eventually the fight stops because his opponents have absorbed too much to continue.
Ronald Ellis. There's a left hook. And now Benavidez pouring it on. Ronald Ellis in some serious. Is stepping up on the corner and they may stop this one. Look at this combination. Ellis, he is so tough. But at what point do you stop this fight? A left hook to the body. Ronald Ellis in serious trouble. This one is over.
The lesson is that volume has its own kind of power. Consistent output, sustained across an entire fight, breaks down even the toughest opponents. You do not need to be looking for the knockout on every punch. Throw with intention, throw consistently, and let the accumulation do the work. Jesse "Bam" Rodriguez. Precision. Jesse Rodriguez knocks out fighters who are never supposed to get knocked out. Durable fighters, experienced fighters, fighters who had never been stopped before. Rodriguez finds a way to finish them, and the reason is precision.
Anytime guys start to look good, Bam just swings away.
Body shot.
He does not throw the most punches. He does not have the biggest frame. What he has is an exceptional ability to land on exactly the right target, at exactly the right angle, with exactly the right technique, which means every punch that lands clean does maximum damage regardless of how hard it was thrown. The chin, the temple, the exact spot behind the ear. Rodriguez finds these targets with a consistency that is almost unsettling. And because he hits the right spots, his punches produce results that raw power alone cannot guarantee. A perfectly placed punch to the right target will drop a fighter that a harder but less accurate punch would never hurt. What Rodriguez demonstrates is the most important lesson in finishing. Precision beats power.
Guevara trying to fight his way out of this trouble, but he got clipped with a beautiful right upper.
You do not need to be the hardest puncher in the division to stop people. You need to be accurate enough to hit the targets that matter, with the technique to make those shots count. Develop your accuracy before you chase power, because a punch that lands in exactly the right place will always do more damage than one that is harder but less precise. 5 fighters, 5 completely different methods for finishing fights. Davis uses timing to make every punch land at the perfect moment. Ortiz uses pressure and combinations together, forcing mistakes and then punishing them immediately with sequences that are both powerful and precise. Matthias uses pressure to break opponents down over time. Benavidez uses volume to accumulate damage that eventually cannot be sustained. And Rodriguez uses precision to find the targets that matter and make every clean punch count. The lesson in all of this is that there is no single path to a knockout. There are 5 paths shown here, and probably more beyond them. Your job is to figure out which method fits your natural attributes and your style, and then develop it until it becomes a reliable finishing tool. Because knockouts are not accidents, they are habits. Build the right ones, and the finishes will come. If you learned something from this video, drop a comment below, hit the like button, and subscribe. And like always, stay dangerous.